Hi everyone, my name is Pranav and I'm a senior ServiceNow consultant. In this video, I'm going to give you some of the tips and techniques when you are implementing a service portal or when you are doing some customization on out of the box or making a portal from scratch. Now, let's talk about today's topic. So, in this video, I'm going to give you an idea about how you can use inspect element to change the CSS. Then we're gonna talk about styling of container. Then we're gonna talk about page routes. And then we'll also see a small example of how you can communicate between a client script to a server script in a widget. And lastly, we're gonna talk about a very basic language translation. Language translation itself is a very big topic. So in every session, sorry, in every session what I'm going to do is like I'll break into small chunks and we're going to explain the language translation part. So let's move into the instance now. So so this is my instance. So now first thing that we're gonna do is like we'll learn how we can use inspect element. So inspect element have lot of features. You can use lot of things, but for this example we're gonna only talk about how you can style some elements. So if you see here, so this is my custom widget. So now I want to style this particular class. I want to add a border to it and some padding, and also I want to change the color. So what we can do is like for border we can just simply do like this, 1 pixel solid, can put it black. So this is one. Then I want to add some padding to it. So you can see I'm adding like around 5 pixel. Yeah, 5 pixel looks good. You can just increase whatever you want, and when you are happy you can just leave it like that. And in the last I want to change the color also to dark, hold on, color to dark blue, or yeah, let's talk about dark blue. So so this is how we styled it using the this inspect element. But this thing won't be like used until unless we just put this thing in the widget. So what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna copy this thing up and I'm gonna go into the widget. So in this tab you are able to see I have the widget and I style the top class. So I'm gonna add this styling to it and just save the form, and then I'm gonna go back to the portal and refresh it. So guys, now you can see that we are able to style it. So this is our first example how you can use inspect element. Now let's see how we can use the like to change the container height. Again we'll use the inspect element only, and we'll go into this. We have this container, so you can see if I add like height equal to 300 pixel, just adding a small example. So I just want to set it to 300 pixel. So now what I'm gonna do is like I'll go to the backend and open the index page. You can also add this CSS to the theme or index page, whatever you want. So basically I'm going to create a class that is called as container height, and just I'm gonna put the height thing to this. Now we have a container class. This is our custom class which is basically setting the height. Now I'm gonna save it, and now I'm gonna go back to the page designer of that index page and select the container. This is the container I want. You see container is selected, and when I click on this I can add parent class to it, that's container height. And when I save it, so the now when I reload it, so the height will be set to the container. So this requirements comes up, I've seen it couple of times when we need to increase or decrease the height. So this is how you can do it. And just to verify that the height parameter is set, I can again gonna select it this, and you can see our container height is set. Okay, so now let's move to the third thing, that is how you can do page route maps. So basically you see the search bar here. If I click on this and if I search with help and click enter, so it is taking us to the search page. Now in ServiceNow there is a new search page also which supports facet search. So the page name is sp underscore search, and if we do that, it will take us to the new page. So you can see this one. Now the thing is that how we can route the old page to this new page without modifying the typed search. So ServiceNow have given us a very easy functionality that is called as page route maps. So if I go to page route maps, I have this search page. You can create a new record. I've already created this. And if you go to this search one, you can see it's saying that route from search to sp underscore search. And when I make it active and update it, now if I go back to my index page, I'm going to give it a refresh. And now what I'm going to do is like, I'll put it help again and click enter. Now you can see that the search page ID remains same, but you see this facet search comes up. So that's how ServiceNow works. So the URL won't be impacted. Only thing is that it will route you from one page to another. So that's how the thing works with the page route maps, and this is the most commonly used thing in service portal. A lot of people have seen, like I've seen people who just modify the widget code to set the page and all. So you can do it without modifying any code, and this is how you do it using page route maps. Now the fourth thing that we're going to do is like, we will see how we can communicate between a client script and a server script. So so if you see on the left hand side, I created this particular widget. What it does is like, it will just, we can add our task, right? Like I can say repair laptop, or we can just click on add and it will gonna add it. Similarly, I can add ABC E XYZ. So it just adds our task and all. So now let's see how this is working. So in the HTML side, it is nothing but just a small, I'm using a list, and we have just two things. One is the input box and one is the button. So now what is basically happening is like, when you click on this button, this particular function is being triggered. And just see, so when you click on this button, it is doing a c.server.update. So it is just updating to the server. When you call this particular thing, it will go and refresh the server, and then we'll get one new object that comes up is like the if input, and then you can just see it will only be available when you use c.server.update. And I have this particular array in which I'm just putting the task that they entered in that page. And once I have this, like if input.action is add task, then I'm just pushing whatever the task that was entered into that array, and I'm using an ng repeat in the HTML to just populate all the tasks. So this is a very simple widget that shows you how you can basically communicate between a server to client and client to server. So I'll also add the code in the description so that you guys can use it. And so now this is how you can communicate, and you can just simply add whatever you want, and you are just adding whatever the list it is, right? So this is our fifth thing. Now let's come to the last part, that is language translation. So if you see this my task thing, right, now I have activated the language plugins and everything, and I have the Japanese language that is enabled. So now basically if you go into the widget and see, I added this thing in like this format: dollar, curly braces, my task, and this closing brace. So if I add this thing like this, and if I go into the backend and I'd go to messages, and sorry, if I go to messages in the system localization, if I go to messages, and if I add a translation like how I added in this my task, and then I added the particular translation and I just saved it. So similarly you can add for other languages also. Currently I only have English and Japanese in my instance, so I have added it. Now you can see it's showing my task. But now if I go here and change my language to Japanese, and now it will be changed to Japanese, and if I refresh my portal, so you can see this is translated to Japanese. So that's one basic way how you can do translation. In the upcoming sessions I'm going to explain you in more detail what are other types of translation, how you can use gs.get message and all these things for that. So please wait for the next video, and that's all I have for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and please do subscribe to the channel.